Good evening, class. My name is Jose Ferrer, and my team and I will be talking and explaining to you the different benefits of using Second Life in an educational setting. We will be talking about the different research and theories, educational resources, scenarios, and experiences that we as a group experienced, and also show you some visual documentation. First off, I'm going to be transferring over the presentation to Alyssa Cerrone.
Welcome to our cooperative project. I'm Alyssa Cerrone. Our project was created to evaluate Second Life as an educational platform for exploring themes about space and space exploration for high school students. During this presentation, we will show how students can experience the excitement of Second Life as we go on a tour of the planets while having our feet firmly planted on Earth. On our virtual field trip, students and users will travel to the depths of the universe to learn about the solar system and how astronauts and space programs have used many different vehicles to explore outer space. We will visit planetariums and planets, explore spaceports and space stations, and fly high and fall far. While Second Life can be fun, the focus here is not just on a tour for entertainment's sake, but instead on how current educational research can shape your approach towards the Second Life environment, and how instructors need to understand the strengths and weaknesses of Second Life as an educational tool before deploying it for use. Now let's take a moment to discuss the educational benefits of using Second Life in the classroom.
Hello there, this is Jose Ferrer again, and I want to talk to you about Second Life and how it provides educators with some unique opportunities if they understand the environment that they're using and what research says about how to use such environments effectively. Lessons in virtual environments can engage students in ways that a face-to-face or online learning environment may not. This type of distance learning allows students to experience virtual, face-to-face interactions with classmates, placing those students in environments that they normally could not access and giving them unique and memorable sights and sounds. Second Life is an online virtual 3D world launched in 2003 by Linden Lab and has a feature that much of the content of the experience of the users is directly determined by what is built by its user community. It is an example of a multi-user virtual environment, an online environment that incorporates computer graphics, sound, and communication tools to simulate the experiences of real-time interaction. It is not a passive experience, but rather an environment that encourages interaction. It allows experimental learning, where a student can engage with a very different set of sights and sounds, and then reflect on what has occurred. Also, much of the exploration of Second Life is community-based, with advanced learners aiding and helping others to master techniques similar to approaches advocated by Vygotsky and his zone of participational development. These aspects, interactivity with peers, exposure to engaging environments, and malleability all offer some strong benefits for engaging students with themes of exploration. However, while the malleability of Second Life environments means that you can experience some remarkable things, you are depending on the goodwill and industry of your Second Life peers that build and support those sites. Sites may change hands or be works in progress, and those factors need to be evaluated as you assess possible educational issues. But we will further address these challenges with Second Life in a little bit. First though, let's talk about some targeted uses of Second Life. 3 sites show considerable promise in the area of talking to high school students about themes of the exploration of both low Earth orbit and the solar system. Spaceport Alpha, a planetarium site, and a National Space Society site. All these sites offer opportunities for immersive and visually engaging educational events with students, as well as having several opportunities for direct and informative interaction with exhibits.
Hi, I'm Jason Wakefield. The space-themed site with the most depth and breadth was Spaceport Alpha, which covers a comparatively wide area with multiple different exhibits, including rockets, the space shuttle, and a zone that provides background on Cape Canaveral. For this zone in particular, we quickly realized that flight option in Second Life was superior to regular walking, both in terms of getting a 3D view of the exhibits, as well as providing overall quicker transit times between exhibits. Coasting just a few inches off the ground, We could jet from point to point in half the time that it would take to walk. Spaceport Alpha showed us a couple of strengths of Second Life as an educational environment. In particular, the exhibits here on a grand scale, and the ability to zoom multiple stories into the air really gave us a feel for the size of the Saturn V rocket, for example. The exhibits were visually striking, with the rocket ring being a particular favorite on the ground portion of the site, and the view of the International Space Station at low Earth orbit being another favorite. This zone would lend itself very well to class tours on the history and future prospects of space exploration, where teachers could discuss the Apollo missions, the Space Shuttle assembly of the International Space Station, and launches of probes to explore Jupiter and Saturn. All of this could be done without ever going to Cape Canaveral in Florida or Johnson Space Center in Houston. However, while the community that supports Spaceport Alpha have built a very rich and interactive experience, we did find some limitations. The site has two ways to get to its low Earth orbit area, a rocket ride and a teleport node. For students, the rocket ride can't easily handle larger groups, and the teleport node unfortunately seems to place the user a few feet off the left of a platform in space, leading to a long fall to the ground. Now let's talk about teachable moments at the planetarium.
Hi, I'm Fernando Mercado. Our group also wanted to look and see what else Second Life had to offer students in terms of educating them on planetary sciences. We found that the planetarium site offered a combination of being visually engaging, interactive, and informative. Upon arrival at the planetarium, the standalone planet model allowed us to select and pull up a single planet at a time, which would be a useful platform for talking to students about planets in an orderly, consecutive fashion, with the benefits of having great visuals that would be difficult to replicate in a classroom environment. Unfortunately, the planet stopped working a few days ago, and now the only option it will give you is to turn on and off Saturn rings and change their colors. As we can see, the ability of students to reach into a world, interact with it, and initiate change to bring up new information or have new experiences, which showcased one of the strengths of Second Life, is no longer there. Things change so fast and without warning in the Second Life environment that we advise for you to make sure there are no redesigns to the site you will be visiting with your class. The planetarium also offered a chance to take a walking tour of the planets, with an array of planets and major moons all laid out side by side, making it a great venue for individual student exploration within the context of a group tour. For an instructor-led tour, those groupings would allow discussion on the themes of inner versus outer planets and on the planet-moon groupings. From the planetarium, you simply touch this dark planet to teleport into space. Students can interact with the planets to pull up wiki articles on each planet or moon, letting them freely explore and expand their knowledge with students driving their own learning. For example, if you click on Mars, it will give you the link to that planet's wiki page. In short, the planetarium is a wonderful and engaging experience for students interested in learning more about the solar system, and could be the foundation of an unforgettable educational experience.
Hi, I'm Chris Neiman. Now we're going to shift our focus a little bit as we talk about the Second Life site hosted by the National Space Society. One of the most thought-provoking experiences the team as a whole had in Second Life was associated with the National Space Society site. When we began working on this assignment early in the semester, we visited the National Space Society and intended to take all the visitors on an educational trip to the Tranquility Moon Base within this NSS area. However, sometime around late October, the initial landing area for the site was rearranged dramatically, requiring a new familiarization process. And additionally, the new layout was more difficult to manage in some ways than the old site for large groups. Before the site changed, the main landing area was defined by a space remembrance walk, which you can see here, which focused on some of the tragedies that occurred in the history of space exploration. And one notable element of that being kind of a virtual plaque dedicated to those who had fallen in the course of rocket-based exploration. So you can see kind of the people that had fallen. The layout offered the chance to potentially talk to students about the history, risks, and challenges of human spaceflight. At one end of the Remembrance Walk, there was a very easy staircase to get to a group transport that you could take to the Tranquility Moon Base, which is a sub-site within NSS. Tranquility Base is a great site. So you take that lander, you get up there, and it gives you the feeling that you're actually standing on the moon. Students can go around and they can click on exhibits such as the laser reflector, which mimics the look of an actual experiment that was left on the moon by the Apollo astronauts. Even today, humans on Earth can still bounce a laser beam off that reflector on the moon to measure the always changing distance between the Earth and moon. And again, history elements such as the lunar lander are also present as well, and the spaciousness of the site would really allow you to have large groups of students all up there at the same time. And again, of course, the team took the opportunity to fly all over the moon, kind of giving you the feel of kind of flying in zero gravity. And the members used various free offerings. There's boxes where you can pick up pieces of a free spacesuit, and you can use that to spice up the look of the avatars. In short, this was a very useful and interactive site that gave you all sorts of possibilities to explore themes of spaceflight exploration. However, sometime in the last week of October, the NSS site was completely rearranged, which was tremendously surprising to the team when they arrived as part of a trial run for a future group tour. Landing Zone is now a grand ballroom without a remembrance wall or straightforward access to the museum, and the site now requires each person to kind of walk single file long distance on a thin walkway to reach the transport module. And the changes kept coming. I mean, you can see even now the carpet changes every week or so. So there are different things going on with this site. Well, one of the challenges associated with the new site, as I mentioned, is that if you try to exit to go towards the Tranquility Moon Base, it's a little bit more challenging now than it used to be. You would get here on the landing zone and you'd proceed through a walkway, and all that works just fine. And you have some nice vistas where you can look and see various parts of the NSS site. But what happens is that when you make the turn and you try and go towards this narrow tube that takes you kind of a long single file distance on a thin walkway to get to the transport module now, there's the issue where you can fall through the floor if you don't quite hit the mark, as you can see right here. Again, the walkway doesn't offer real protection for that, for avatars getting a little off target, so falling off the floor was something that happened to multiple times during the tour run through, and as a team we decided that wasn't really a good way to get a moderate sized group to the lunar transport. So this experience highlights to us some of the pedagogical advantages and disadvantages with using Second Life. One major benefit of using a site controlled by a local resident is that new content can often be added very easily. It provides visitors with the opportunity to learn new information each time they travel to a world. However, because the worlds can be reconfigured so easily, teachers have to kind of check the worlds often and must be aware of potential redesigns. Teachers have to have a plan for how they intend to use each world, and they should always practice using that world before using it in class. So, what we've learned throughout our experience is that while Second Life has many great sites with a lot of potential, it's not always the most stable environment, and it can present challenges to the execution of its instruction if it's not treated properly as the evolving workspace it actually is. Still, it's an environment that promotes interactivity and engagement both with fellow peers as well as with new and sometimes breathtaking vistas that it offers. These are both important pedagogical principles to pursue. In short, to the prepared user, it offers experience-based learning that might not be easily achievable in other educational venues.